Hey guys, this is Austin.
And John.
And welcome to another episode of the Meatgistics podcast. I am back this week. John had to do it on his lonesome last week. I'm sorry, John.
Got to do it.
Got
to do it on my own.
Had to do it, got to do it.
Got to
do it. Okay. Well, this week, instead of one of us, there are three of us up here. We have another guest with us this week, Kurt Ratzliff from the BHA here in Kansas. And we've had him on before, but he was very entertaining, had a lot of good stories and a lot of good insight, so we wanted to get him back on. So he is here with us today. We'll get into what today is going to be about, but first we got to get to the beer of the day, always the most important thing of the day. So today I am drinking a Well Bean Intentional IPA. It's a little funky, I will say that, but it's not bad.
Okay.
It's not what I expected at all. It says award-winning craft beers. I don't know that I would give this an award, but I will still drink it.
Let me smell it. No, see, that smells exactly like an IPA to me. That's like, they all smell it here.
It just has a weird consistency. Like, I know like liquid is a liquid, right? But it's still, I don't know, it's different to me.
Tastes like every other IPA I've ever had. Just tastes like I took a handful of potpourri and shoved it in my mouth. Not a fan.
Wow.
I've a weird child I was. I've got my favorite Oktoberfest beer. Stealing something from you. Did it last week too.
Nice.
Spaten Oktoberfest. I absolutely adore this beer. When I used to manage a beer store up in New York, every time this came out, I'd buy 2 cases right away and just store them for drinking throughout the next 6 months, which invariably just ended up being 2 weeks because I'd drink them every night. But just everything you want in an Oktoberfest. Spaten in general makes good beer, but the Oktoberfest is so far superior in my mind to any other one. I have a feeling you're going to argue with me on that?
I am, as a matter of fact. I was going to say I can echo pretty much everything that you just said, except for the name of the beer, because I really, really like Left Hand Oktoberfest. Got to be at the Left Hand Brewery a couple times and sample a lot of their beers, and I really like this one. This is like literally the only seasonal beer that I go out of my way to find. I really like it. So Left Hand Oktoberfest.
It's 6.6. That's not bad.
Yep.
Left Hand makes amazing beers. They really do a good job.
They really do.
They are one of the original American beers that really put us on the map as, hey, Europe, we're making good beer too, instead of Bud and Coors and all that nonsense. Sorry to anyone who likes.
Which is still fine on a hot afternoon. It is.
So
we'll move on.
If the choice, there's really only one beer I just won't drink, and that's Miller Lite. If the choice is Miller Lite or nothing, I will drink nothing all day long. Dying in a desert, rather die.
No.
Oh, it's so bad.
No.
It's not that bad. It's still beer. It's not the greatest beer.
No, you know what I think it is? So when you work at a beer store in New York, we have these things called deposits. So on bottles and cans, it's 5 cents a can. And you pay that when you take it away, and then you can bring the cans and bottles back and you get 5 cents back per bottle. So a lot of homeless people that would be like their job. They'd be going around collecting those, and they'd return them, and they'd been sitting out in like the hot sun or in a garbage can for like 2 weeks. So the smell that was coming off the cans, but that's still what Miller Lite smells to me, even like when you freshly crack one. I'm like, I hate it. Absolutely hate it. But moving on. All right. So anyone who remembers Kurt from the last time knows that he is a very entertaining guest. We had a great time the last time he was here. You and I got down to brass tacks with the Great
American Outdoors Act.
Land
and Water Conservation
and specifically
Fund.
the Land and Water Conservation Fund, which was great. Lots of great information, stuff I didn't know, made me feel much better about it at the end. But you guys just did a survey of all your members, and there was some interesting information.
There really was.
Go ahead.
There really was. And I mean, like we always, at Backcountry Hunters and Anglers, we always pride ourselves on we're one of the more youthful conservation groups. And I mean, it takes all the conservation groups because there's a lot of issues out there. But we kind of pride ourselves as being the boots on the ground folks. And really the survey bore that out. It was really, really good. One thing is that we are very politically diverse. The thing that unites BHA people is a love for public lands and outdoors and hunting and fishing and all the various things that you can do outdoors, even riding around in a four-wheeler. We even like that.
Yeah.
But it's a very diverse group. The results came in that 28% of the members are independent, 23% are Republicans, 18% are Democrats, 6% are Libertarians, and there's 1% that is members of the Green Party. Oh. So it's a very diverse group, and I think my experience with BHA members around the country and stuff, it really does bear that out. Yeah. And so that's kind of a cool group, and kind of an outgrowth of that. This is not on the survey thing at all, but we're also trying to get information from the candidates, the Kansas Senate candidates. This year there's 3 of them, and I worked with the national office and sent them each a long questionnaire of their opinions and thoughts on public lands, and we're hopefully going to get enough of those. We've got one answer back, but we can't say anything about it. But we're hoping to get more answers back from them. If we do, we can publish those results. And I'm really looking forward to that. That was kind of that's a new thing for us to try to do.
Yeah, that's an awesome idea.
Yeah.
And you will publish that?
If we get enough. There's 3 candidates, and we have to get responses from 2.
Okay.
I have 1. And I'm virtually certain that we will get probably answers from all 3 of them. Sweet. And then if we do, we can publish that and let everybody see their opinions on public lands.
How many members of BHA are there in Kansas? Do you know?
In Kansas, we have about 400 to 500.
Okay.
Like I said, we're a young group. We'll get to that stat as well. But so a lot of times our membership is event driven, and with all the COVID stuff, we haven't had very many events. And so we've actually dropped down a little bit. But generally speaking, I'd say 500 is a good number.
Yep.
So cool. We're a little below that right now, but we'll get back up there.
Yeah. And that's enough to have at least a little bit of weight behind sending something to a state representative.
Absolutely. Yeah. Another thing that I loved sending, and I sent these survey results to the candidates as well to say, hey, we do matter out here probably, because we are also a very politically active group. Okay. 85% of our members have sent letters or made calls to political people. 85%.
That's really high.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think maybe the Great American Outdoors Act had an effect on that to some degree, because we were very excited about that and really got a lot of people energized about that. But still, 85%.
Yeah, that's insane.
What group has 85% that makes calls and writes letters and that kind of stuff to a Congress representative?
Yeah, 85% of any group doing anything is high, let alone nobody sends letters to their congressman.
Yeah, 85% would be high if you were just politically interested in anything, let alone taking action on something.
Yeah. I think that's absolutely right. And one thing BHA does a really good job at is making it easy for us as members to do that. And I think they kind of get that ball rolling. And I know I'm a perfect example of this. I had never called a congressman, senator. Well, maybe I had a couple of times, but really nothing in particular. And they make it very easy on the website to do that. And then once you kind of get in the swing of it, you figure out how really easy it is and how really effective it is. And it kind of makes you want to do it even more. Because it's just kind of a momentum kind of thing. You find out that it's easy to write a letter or make a phone call, and it is that easy. It's just writing an email or making a phone call, and you can do it. It's just not that hard. So everyone should do it. But yes, 85% of our members.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
That shows you have good, passionate people.
Yeah.
Now there is also. BHA is, and forgive me how this is initially going to come out, an easy organization to be on your side. Like, it's not like you're saying, let's end logging because of the spotted owl and put all these hundreds of people out of work. I mean, you guys go out and pick up garbage. You do the dirty work that keeps so much of our land beautiful. I mean, that's not what you do is easy, but it's easy to be on your guy's side.
Yeah, I think that's a fair statement. Yeah. Absolutely. Because it's we're the boots on the ground guys. It's a lot harder for people to break out the checkbook. For a lot of people, it's hard to break out the checkbook and give money. But go pull out some fence or go pick up some trash. Yeah, we can do that. That's what you guys do. Oh, well, that's cool. Yeah, we'll join you. It is an easy sell. It really truly is. And I think for good reason, because it's a good thing to do. It is good. It's just basically we do some basic, fundamentally good things. And that's it. You can say what you want about people these days, and all that kind of stuff. People are still good people for the most part. I just really, truly believe that. And
2 out of 3 people are good, and usually they're on opposite ends of the table.
I knew that's where we were going. Now you said something there. You said these days.
With air quotes.
Right. Speaking as someone who's starting to get older and looking back at how things were when I was younger, talk about, I'm sure you have it to bring up the age of your average member.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's super interesting because I've said for a while now that and this was based on the last survey, and I was worried there would be a little age creep going on. But it's still true that 70% of our membership is under 45 years old. And that's almost like the flip side of the coin with a lot of conservation groups.
Yeah.
It just is. That's just the way things are. That's kind of just the makeup of things right now. But 70% of our membership is under 45. So yeah, we're young, we're active, we get out and do stuff. And so it's a lot of fun when you come to an event. We've talked about that last time about the events are just pretty fun. Everybody's got a lot of energy and passion and all that sort of thing. So it's a fun time to come to our stuff. I might be a little prejudiced on that.
I'm sure you are, but there's nothing wrong with that.
but I think it's true. But some of the other stats that are pretty interesting. Where's the public lands one? 27% of the membership that responded spend 100% of their time when they go out in the field to hunt, fish, whatever they're going to do. They spend 100% of that time on public lands, 27%, which I thought was amazing. And I just think that's a great testament to the availability, first of all, of our public lands, especially when you go to the western part of the United States. But really, spread out in most states, we're a little deficient here in Kansas, but still there's places to go. There are places to go. So, but I just thought that was a great stat. And 59% spend at least half of their time in the field on public land. So I thought that was pretty cool. We also had one of the things that I was interested in because I partake of this, like wild game, like how much of your diet is made up of wild game. Right. And the numbers that came back on that is 35% get at least half of their food from wild game or foraged foods.
Wow.
So I thought that was super cool. And I think I would say that's the folks that I talked to that would be accurate, or maybe even we'd be a little higher around here maybe.
So this will be kind of a judgment call. I don't know how you'll figure this out in your head, but the physical fitness of the groups that I've at least seen you bring in here, do you think that's indicative of the rest of BHA, or do you think you have a special group in?
No, I think I would say that we maybe are not as fit as some of the other BHA groups that I've seen. I'll say that.
Oh, wow.
Which is amazing because we're a pretty fit group of guys and girls.
Yeah.
But then we had our national convention is called Rendezvous, and I went to that, not this year because of COVID, but last year I went to that. And I walked around that place just like scratching my head. Like I had no idea that there was, this many guys and gals that were in like crazy shape. Like, and some of them are, some of them you can look at, that's probably, a gym rat. They spend a lot of time in there, throwing iron around and stuff. But then other people you look at and you go, that just looks like somebody that just does stuff, right. And because there's kind of a difference, in builds and stuff when you do that. And it's just, I don't know, it's an amazingly active group of people.
Yeah. If you took 30 people in off the street and compared them to the 30 people I've seen at the few events you've done here, it's not even close.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a way more physically fit group. And I do like what you said, the difference between a gym rat, because you have one or two of those.
Oh, absolutely.
But the rest of them are on the older, or some of them were on the older side, but still really fit.
Yep, absolutely.
So I wonder if that's more a mindset of, I'm going to stay fit, so I've got to find things to do and going out and doing cleanups and not, or if it's the outcome of being like, I want to help the environment. So
I think it's just like kind of like we were talking about earlier. It's like a momentum thing.
Okay.
Once you do it, it feels good, and you just keep doing it. I don't know. I've been, I think, a pretty active person most of my life. And I put on a few pounds in middle times, and now I've had to get rid of that, and I think once I just think it feels good. I mean, just like as a general statement, because I dropped about 30 pounds here a while back,
Nice.
Just because I wanted to get doing more things again and that sort of thing. And it's just easier to live. Maybe I'm just lazy. I don't know. That very well could be, but it's just easier. It really just is. It's just easier to do things. And so, but yeah, it's, like, I don't know, we're just a kind of like a common thing is like what I did last Tuesday. I had to drive to Manhattan. And so instead of just driving to Manhattan and back, like I got up at 4:00, put the bird dogs in the back end of the car, drove up and hunted for a couple of hours and still made it to Manhattan in time for the deal I was going to do up there. And so, instead of getting up at 6 and doing all that stuff, I got up at 4 and had a great time, had a great adventure. I got lost. It was wonderful. It was a great time. How do you get lost in Kansas, right?
I knew I liked you, Kurt. And it's the morning, getting going in the morning thing. It's got to be our connection. Dogs. I don't remember us talking about it last time. What do you got for dogs?
I have 2 English setters.
Good.
Yep. And I've had English setters for, oh gosh, I think I've been training them for 30 years or something now, and just love them until they get into burrs and stickers and stuff like that. It's just awful. But yeah, that's my favorite part about going out bird hunting anymore is I just love to watch my dogs work and just get out and walk around and just watch that. And it's just, it's a real, I think it's just a real joy to see joy, first of all. And when you see the dogs out doing like what they were absolutely bred and made to do, and they're doing the exact thing that they would do for the rest of their life if they could. And they're just exceedingly happy about it. Right. And it's just so much fun to see that and to get a little feedback on that, and it's really great. I just love that. I just love it. So, but it was great until the fog rolled in and we couldn't see one another the other day. That was not so much fun. That's when I got lost.
So did it take you a while to find your car? Or?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
Yeah. That's the second time that I've been lost, like in Kansas. You would think, how can you get lost in Kansas? But both times it was in different places, but like geographically, they were both in areas where it just looks like the same, no matter which direction you go. Mm. And both times it was like a situation where you couldn't even see like where the sun was. You can't even get a direction that way from like seeing, because like the first time was a long time ago, but it was just one of those densely overcast days where you don't even see the sun and you can't even tell which direction the light is coming from. And Tuesday I was about, I don't know, probably an hour or probably 45 minutes away from the car, walking around out in the Flint Hills. And like, there's no landmarks out there. Right. There's no trees. It's perfect. It's great. And there's no landmarks at all. And we were out there and all of a sudden, because the hurricane stuff was coming in and it was just the edge of that. And I mean, the fog just like dropped out of the sky and it was so thick, you couldn't see anything. And all of a sudden I was like, well, I think I came from that way. And so I started walking that way and pretty soon I'm like, I've seen that one gate that's like out here just weirdly like a gate that somebody left out there. It's like, I've seen this gate before. I just walked in a circle. Great. And so yeah, but luckily when I had pulled in that morning, it was still pretty dark, but there was a dog at a farmhouse just up the road that was barking. And so when I was out there and I got lost, all of a sudden I thought, wait a minute, I think I hear that stupid dog. And so I was listening, and it was so still. He was a couple of miles away at that point, but I could still hear it barking. I said, like, that's the same dog that I heard barking. And so I started going that way. And that's the one thing that helped me out.
Very nice.
That's ridiculous.
You use what you can in that
That's
situation.
right.
I mean, there's not
I was trying to use my,
done.
I was also breaking in some like new equipment for me.
Okay.
And some new electric, because my dog collar, we were just up in Montana hunting birds, and my dog collars quit on me up there, which was not cool. And so I had to order what I could find, because all of the factories shut down because of COVID. So I had to get what I could. So I'm trying to figure out this new dog collar, and it's supposed to have a way that you can figure out. It's kind of a GPS-y kind of thing. And I couldn't figure that thing out. And so I'm out there, and that's when I really got lost. I was still doing okay. And I thought, well, I'll use my new dog collar. This will be great. And no, it just got me totally turned around. So anyway, but so you can get lost even in Kansas. You can.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And what you said, everything looks the same when you go out in the field. For anyone who's not been to Kansas, first of all, Manhattan, he did not mean Manhattan, New York.
No.
Manhattan, Kansas. It's
Yes.
where Kansas is. There was a couple years there where Kansas State was seriously good at football
Yeah.
and was up in the rankings, and they kept saying Manhattan. I'm like, all right, maybe it's Kansas something else, but I couldn't get it through my head that there might be another Manhattan. So I'm like, Kansas must be like a guy's last name, and they're somehow in Manhattan. So shows you how intelligent I was when I was in high school or whatever.
Yeah. Well, and especially you get out in the Flint Hills, which is just south of Manhattan a little ways. And it's just like for folks that don't know, it's like just a set of very rolling hills that are just covered in grass. And that's it. And there's no trees, and there's very few fences, and there's just nothing out there except for prairie chickens, which I didn't find any of those either. I just got lost, and that was all I got.
So how do you cut the burrs out of your setters, or?
No, I found this great, it's not even a thing that's made for burrs. How on long-haired dogs, they get like mats of hair like behind their ears. It's a mat breaker is what it's called. And it's just a little deal that you can like, I always think of my sisters when I was a kid, they would tease their hair to make it, I don't understand what they were doing, but they always talked about teasing their hair. I don't know.
Does that make sense? Looking at long hair.
So I always think of my sisters, I'm teasing these things out of my dog's hair, because you just kind of sit there and you go like this, and it gets the burrs out really well.
Okay.
And so that's the best way to do it that I've found anyway. So, and oh man, sometimes it can be a mess though.
Have you ever had your dogs get like seriously injured while you're out hunting?
Yes, which is not fun.
Because that's usually my story when I go out with my dog. She's old and retired now, but what kind of things have you run into?
Oh, running into things is the biggest problem for them. It seems like my very first dog that I had, I think I had gone down to like Meade State Park or something down in the southwest corner of the state. And you'd think down in the southwest corner, there's not a whole lot of trees down there, but around that state park, there was at that time a bunch of old trees that had fallen over and stuff. And all I could figure out was that she must have been running and jumped over something and like hit a broken branch or something, because it just, literally like this, it just like ripped her open. And it was snowy, and I could follow her blood trail, for lack of a better term. And she was still going. She was a great little dog, and she just kept going. And I had to literally like run her down and pick her up and carry her out of there, because she was still ready to go. And so, yeah, that one was not cool. Stopped at I think I stopped at a vet in Greensburg, and he looked her over and stuff. And at that point, the blood had kind of stopped rolling out. And he's like, well, just take her to your vet back at home. And so that little surgery later, got it taken care of. I asked him to stitch her up real good, because I was young and dumb. And so I said, stitch, staple, do whatever you got to do. I want to go hunting again in a week. Poor dog had me for an owner, but we did. A week later, we were right back out again. So she was fine. So that one was not too fun.
I've had one like that too. My dog was just running, jumping through the field, landed on something right on the chest.
Yeah.
And I don't know, size of a quarter or so, something went through and in. It came out, but yeah, She kept going. She started slowing down a little bit, and as we were getting to the last field we were walking through, I start yelling at her because she's like finally lagging behind people. We'd been hunting all day, and I'm like, "Come on, dog, get up here! You are in front, not behind." And I'm blasting her with the shot collar, thinking like she's just chasing a varmint or something. She found a rabbit and she's having fun with that. No, we get back to the truck and she won't jump up in. She just lays down. I go up to touch her and she just squeals. When she was in the field, she was working through it. She's like, I'm gonna keep going. But as soon as we get back to the truck and she knows she's done, she loses all that adrenaline. And that was a nice little vet bill to get that fixed.
We just we have a podcast of our own with Kansas BHA podcast, and we just did a whole segment, and it went a long time on field care for bird dogs. We had a vet on and just went through that whole process of just what you need to carry with you, what you should have in the car, what you should do in this case, that case, food, just all sorts of things. And that was I found that to be really helpful.
What was their advice on snake bites?
In fact, that's why I had to go back up to Manhattan the other day. This vet is a proponent of the snake shots, the venom shots, and I had her give mine. You get 2 shots to begin with. You get one, and then about a month later, you get the second one. I had her do one for the night that we did the podcast, and then I had to get back up there because we'd been to Montana and done all that stuff and come back, and I had to run up there to get the second shot. But yeah, there's a shot that you can give them. It doesn't prevent them from being poisoned or whatever you want to call it.
But it helps
survival rate is what it really does. And then it's just a once a year follow-up after that.
Very cool.
So that's a good deal.
Yeah. All right. So what other stats you want to bring up?
One other one that I really like, and it ties in really well with the big push that we've got going on right now as well, is 14% of our membership either is active service or retired from the service. And we're doing right now, we've just started what we're calling the AFI Armed Forces Initiative. And we have a big push right on. We just hired a guy at the national office, Morgan Mason, who was with the Meat Eater crew before that. And he's a vet actually from Wakefield, just up by Manhattan. He's in charge of that up there. And it's a big thing that we're doing to engage and give outdoor activity opportunities to more and more of our armed services folks.
Nice.
Very cool.
So yeah, and like the normal rate the normal percent of people in society that are in the armed forces or have been is 7% right now, and our membership is at 14% with the armed services. So I'm pretty proud of that. That's pretty awesome, and I'm really looking forward to doing that and working on the Armed Forces Initiative. That's going to really get up and running in the next year. Just had kind of an organizational meeting nationwide for our military members the other night, just a few nights ago, in fact. And so that's going to get up and rolling pretty well in the next year or so. So I'm very excited about that. I think that's super cool. So anyway, and that's pretty much the information that we gained from our survey. So,
well, there was one other thing, and I think we talked about it earlier. The average age, do you have an exact?
I don't.
I think we talked about it last time. You trend way young.
Yeah. 70% are under 45.
Or under 45.
And there was I want to say it was like a third was 25 to 35, and another third was 35 to 45.
That's the number I saw.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, when you stop and think about it, it makes sense. Organizations like yours, generally, as you have more free time, which happens when you're older, your kids are out of the house, you maybe aren't working full time anymore. But you guys seem to have tapped into that younger. And I think this makes sense in my mind, at least. It's because you guys go out and do active things. It's not.
Absolutely. Yeah. No question about that at all. None. I mean, when we were just first getting started here in Kansas, I had a lot of guys that would call me up and say, I want to do things. Do you guys do things? Or do you guys just sit around and, and I was like, no, man, this is the place. Come to BHA, like our public lands pack out event we've got going on where we're picking up all the trash and stuff. That's a month-long event for us. Our members go out and pick up trash. Walton's has been nice enough to make a nice donation to us for every bag of trash that we get packed off of public lands, which we greatly appreciate. But it's just stuff like that, like there's a National Public Lands Day is tomorrow when we're recording this on the 26th. But we at BHA have the entire month of September as Public Lands Month. And so we go out and we have all sorts of activities going on this month, and it is very active type things. It's not banquets and that sort of thing. And I don't mean to downplay those at all, because like I said, it takes all the conservation groups to handle all the issues that we've got right now. And Pheasants Forever and Ducks Unlimited and all the ones that have the big banquets, they certainly have their place in the whole spectrum of things. And I don't mean to badmouth them at all. That's just not what we do.
Sure.
We're the boots on the ground guys, and then go have some beers afterwards and make fun of each other and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Well, you were saying quickly about something you had done either last night or earlier in the week, the float. You want to talk about that just a little bit?
We also had, so we've got, on Saturday, we have our big public lands pack out at Hillsdale and Cheney reservoirs, and we've got smaller events at other ones. But we're also actually partnering with the Department of Wildlife and Parks at Hillsdale and Cheney to have hopefully big events. They're going to have a big trailer there, and we're hoping to fill up trailers full of trash. And just because this year, I went to the Wildlife and Parks Commission meeting the other day and heard a great stat with all of the COVID and social distancing stuff this year. The state parks in Kansas have had more visitors than they have ever had in history. And we kind of expected that to happen, but not to the extent that it did happen. Like May and June, they had more visitors than they have ever had in those 2 months. And those are big months usually. And so those 2 months just blew everything out of the water. And the one stat that I really, really liked was 30% of the people that went to state parks in Kansas this year, it was their first time to go to a state park.
That's crazy. That is great.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's no silver linings to COVID, but if there is one, we're getting people out to get socially distanced from one another and, be outdoors instead of indoors, all that sort of thing. And at least people are listening to that and doing that and going to our state parks anyway to do that.
Oh, we've said there's a silver lining to COVID every third episode. It feels like I'm like, well, a silver lining to this is just trying to be positive about something.
Trying to find something.
Yeah, there's always good that comes out of the bad. And I saw a stat similar to what you're talking about, just specifically about El Dorado State Park. They were saying that every weekend they were having on average like almost 70,000 people there.
Yeah.
Like that's it turns in from nothing, just a lake and a state park, to all of a sudden it's a city.
Yeah.
Tons of people getting out.
Yeah. Well, and I had seen those stats too. And that's kind of what made me think of contacting the Wildlife and Parks guys and seeing if we could partner with them on the state park situation. Because I thought, if you're having 70,000 people or whatever the case may be at the various state parks, if you're having that many people every weekend, there's got to be a trash issue. And so I was talking to Stuart Schrog, who's the public land division head for Wildlife and Parks, and he's like, "Oh yeah, there's a situation." So I thought, well, BHA's here, man. We'll dig in and help try to rectify that situation, and hopefully we get some people that aren't BHA members out there, and we can tell them, hey, understand that we own this land. This state park is ours. We're Americans. We're the government. If the state owns this, that means we own this. And so if we own it, we ought to take care of it. We take care of our own stuff at home. We might as well, we got to take care of this too. And so I hope there's some people that show up for that. If not, we'll just have a bunch of BHA folks out there and we'll have fun picking up trash and maybe having a few drinks along the way of water, of course. Stay hydrated.
Yeah, your public land.
Stay thirsty, my friends.
That's exactly right.
I don't know if it's a slogan of yours or a motto, but the public landowner, like the hat I have, the shirt.
Yes.
That is just awesome.
Yeah.
It's so well drilled down. It's an encapsulation of this huge idea in 3 words.
Yes.
I mean, it really is awesome.
I couldn't agree more with that, because that is like the core value, I think, of BHA, is to understand that all of the public lands that we have are ours, whether it's a state park playground or a city park playground, whatever it is, all the way up to, some roadless, North Cascades National Park. It's a national park with no roads in it. Something like that. We own all of that. Yep. And yeah, it's just, there's a new t-shirt out, by the way. You ought to check it out. Again, 3 words, and it says public lands, and there's an equal sign, freedom.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that is completely accurate as well, because, you can, if you just follow a couple of rules, that's all you got to do. You can go take, ATV trails wherever you want to go, or you can walk trails wherever you want to go, and you can go as far as you can do it. Yep. And it's up to you. And there's no greater freedom than just going out there and seeing what you can do. So,
absolutely. Yep. Couldn't agree with you more on that. So speaking quickly, tying into the freedom thing, I don't know if you had heard this yet. I know he did, but today, which is what, the 23rd, 22nd, 25th. Oh my God. So by the time this comes out, in not next Monday, but the following, the website won't be up yet, right?
No.
But for anyone who's like a big Meatgistics follower, that has been where I've been. So if you've noticed a lack of my presence on Meatgistics and everything, it's because I've been trying to do some things on the website. Once that is done, I will be more back involved. But that's why I have no idea what day it is, because they're all the same. I came in on last Saturday and Sunday because all the Waltons decided to leave, and somebody needed to hold the ship together. No, I'm just kidding.
So would your t-shirt for that situation be "No John equals freedom"? the people who watch this have been free of you. Is that what it is?
Pretty much.
No John equals freedom. Yes. I like that.
They've done crazy things on Meatgistics now. They've been great. And people are helping each other out. Like, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's nice to see all the helpful insight that goes back and forth.
The community we've created there is just absolutely second to none. But Florida just removed all restrictions. So they are open for business. Ron DeSantis said, nope, you're open. Everything is removed. No social distancing, no nothing. And I'm very, very hopeful that will spread and go to, I know somehow this has become a political issue, which boggles my mind.
Shouldn't be, but it
should
turned
not
into
be,
it.
But it has turned into it. So if you didn't know what my political leanings were before, you probably know now. But I'm not at all surprised that your largest percentage of political affiliation is independent. At all.
No.
That makes so much sense.
Yes. Yeah, because you think about it, it's like you take your typical BHA member is absolutely a hunter, so you're most likely a gun owner. Or if you're not a gun owner, you own a bow, or both, or whatever. And so there, you have that leaning to the Republican side of the stage, mm-hmm. probably. On the other hand, we are very environmentally conscious as well, because we like to take care of our public lands and all of that sort of thing. So we have some, environmental leanings on that kind of situation, and we've talked. I think we talked last time about Steve Rinella.
Yep.
And I don't know if you've seen that. They came out with a bunch of T-shirts and stuff that say Rinella Putelis. So Steve Rinella and Giannis Putelis 2020. That's going to be the new political party. Because we don't really fit. Generally speaking, we are independent-minded people, yep. And we're very passionate people, and have strong beliefs about things. And it's like. The independent thing totally makes sense completely.
Absolutely. Now, we dipped our toes really briefly last time into some form of service coming out of high school, or
I told you to be careful now.
I know, but I've had some thoughts.
Okay. It doesn't surprise me.
So this is going to be weird because I'm going to vaguely reference a sci-fi novel, but it is a great novel. Starship Troopers. For anyone who's seen the movie, the book is not the movie. Have you ever seen the movie Starship Troopers? All right, so it's going to be hard to explain, so I'll just go real high. One of their things was service equals citizenship. So everybody has rights on Earth, but if you give service, and that doesn't necessarily have to mean like, a shooter. It could be anything within the military or within their government structure. But they would actively try to get people to quit. Like, we don't want people who won't actually see things through. And citizenship gives you the ability to vote and a couple other things, but voting's the big one.
Yep.
Like, if you're not willing to do these things, you don't get a vote. And I know it sounds kind of authoritarian, which is not me at all, but we need people to have more buy-in. Like, we've got to have people who actually care about this country making the decisions. And the more I think about it, and again, I don't think we have any under 18 listeners or like super young listeners. And I might have hated this idea when I was that age, but I really think a year between high school and going off to college of some form of service would fix so many of the issues we have right now. The left and the right are so far apart.
You can't make any of that mandatory though. That's like,
why not? We make school mandatory, and schools.
You would have to have it involved in school somehow, but then you're still getting kind of shady there.
So you make it your senior year of high school. Is not that you go out into the world.
This is basically like Mormonism, right?
I'm a Mormon.
Mormons,
I
yeah.
didn't know I was a Mormon.
I think that's the deal. I'm not like super fluent in what Mormons do, but
okay.
At some point there, yeah, I think it's maybe sometimes during your college age they go off and do something
talking about
for
like a mission.
Yeah,
yeah. No,
it's
this
still
isn't that.
Service, not military service.
Yeah.
But,
This isn't that.
Okay.
I'm talking about like getting people out into public lands, cleaning up trash. That could be part of it. Helping like build a dam could be another part. Like something to let them understand how lucky we are. Like, we're unique. We own this country. That is not the case in 95% of the rest of the countries. And if we can't start seeing eye to eye on this, we're gonna lose this.
Yeah, but that's why it's called freedom. You have freedom to do what you want.
Understood, but
it comes with the good and the bad. You got to take it all.
There should be something that forces us to recognize that freedom.
As soon as you say force, you lose the freedom part.
Said maybe. I said maybe. It's not a perfect idea, but getting people to understand what it is that we have here.
You just have to make it more enjoyable. I mean, that's why you have the conservation groups where it's not something you're forced to do, but they make it fun. Like if you had
I think that's a good idea. Open another beer.
Yes.
Sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
So, I mean, if you had to go pick up trash on your own, would you go do it? It's not going to be that fun. But if you're going out with some friends, you're going to make an event out of it like BHA is doing here. I mean, that makes it fun. Would all of those people that are going out on September 26th to the couple different places go do that on their own? Probably not. But you make it a part of a group. You make it fun. You still have to have the free choice to do it, but then it's fun. Not everyone's going to do it, but those that want to and can, you make it enticing for them.
Without realizing that you're pushing my argument forward, you're pushing my argument forward. You make something like that fun. You take all these people who in a normal life would never interact. Right? You take people from Compton and people from Beverly Hills, I don't know, whatever. And they have to work together to do something. Have to. Like, you have this goal, you have to get this done.
Bad plan.
Not a bad plan. Good plan. You're going to show the rich kid who's never struggled for anything, what the concerns are of the poor kid who's had to struggle for every single thing in his life. Vice versa, you're going to show that poor kid there is a different life. Right now, we're so separated, and it's got me so worried.
Austin, does he do this on every podcast, or is it just me? Is it just me that brings this out?
He is just on a soapbox right now.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
We started it last time and didn't go any further, and so I was just curious, like, do I bring this out somehow, or is this every podcast?
No, I've been thinking of this almost nonstop for 2 months.
Okay,
there are a lot of podcasts. Something gets you excited when we do when we do the Meat Matters section. We'll find something in the news that it gets both of us fired up. That we're like, this is stupid, but I don't know. I'd say this maybe tops all your soapboxes.
Yeah. It's just I can't stop trying to think of something to draw us all back closer. Because luckily we live in a great area of the country, but I talk to people back in New York. We are not in a good place. We are on the brink, and with everything that's happening now, it's just, it's got me thinking or wishing that there was something we had done to integrate everybody earlier. I don't know.
It's a lofty goal. It's a good goal.
It is.
There's no question about that.
But it is a good goal.
It's a good goal. There's no question about that. It's just the means to get there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You can't force them.
Right. But hold on.
You can. Basically, we
were so close to breaking out of this. We were so close.
No,
we were right there.
You're forced to go to school.
Basically, what you're saying is after high school, we're going to put everyone into concentration camps for a year.
No. Not even remotely close. Make it part of the rest of your responsibilities. Like, I despised school. Never got a thing from it. Like, I was lucky enough to go to a very nice high school. Wasn't anywhere near the upper area of my location, but the school was really, really good. To the point where I went to college, I was like, well, this is stupid and easy. But I was forced to go. Why? What's the difference between that, forcing a kid to go and get an education, and forcing them to understand that you own all this land and you're responsible for it?
Well, it depends on how old you are. I mean,
So
minor or not minor. If you're once you're 18,
so you're 7. So say you do it when you're 16.
Yeah. I don't know. It could be a part of school if you just do it in the right way. You can't make it be the whole thing. But like at my high school, we had a class called like servant leadership. The class, you met like once a week for like half an hour. All the rest of your classes, you had to go out and do something in the community. You were volunteering. It had to be for a nonprofit. You couldn't make money off of it, but getting you out to take care of the rest of the community. It would be something like that, but that's one class out of 8. So, I mean, you're not spending your whole time on it. You can find ways to do that, but then again, you can't just tell everyone. Well, I don't know. Yeah. I don't think you can just tell everyone you can do it. You can still tell everyone you're going to take math and English and stuff like that, but I don't think you can just tell everyone you're going to go do this.
Yeah, that's so tough because I absolutely...
Did you want that?
Love our freedom, but also do see... All right, well, whatever. That's not what this podcast is about. All right, so...
remember that. That was not a BHA discussion. How about that disclaimer? You like that?
Yeah.
This conversation...
That was probably fair.
This conversation is not endorsed by BHA or Walton's.
But I'll bet you a bunch of the BHA listeners will like what I said. All right, so the last time we talked, we were talking about antelope humping.
No, that's hunting. A good transition. I like that one
Thank
a lot.
You. Yeah,
there we go. Now we're back in my wheelhouse.
And I think part of my fascination with antelope is that it doesn't seem like an animal that should be in the U.S. I know I said that last time, but you really like hunting it.
I do.
Okay.
I do. It's a ton of fun.
Give me a couple of reasons why.
To your point, it doesn't look like an animal that lives in the United States.
So let me jump in here real quick.
Sure.
I'm sorry. Is it actually a native?
Absolutely.
It really is.
Absolutely. But yeah. But to that point, just kind of a funny anecdote. Gosh, who was it? I think it was my daughter. one of my daughters was getting married, and some of her friends from back east or someplace came out for the wedding, and I have a nice antelope buck head. That's the only head of an animal that I have in my house, but it's a nice buck. It means some things to me. That's why it's there. I'm not a trophy hunter, but that one means some things to me, and so it's there. And all of the college kids from all over America thought I had gone to Africa.
That's what I would have thought.
Yeah. It's such a cool looking animal, and for some reason it's looked down upon by a lot of hunters. I don't understand why. Actually, I do. There's a lot of them in some places, and so it's very easy to go shoot an antelope. It's not that hard. In some places, in other places, it's extremely difficult. So you can make it whatever hunt you want. But I'm a big fan of antelope hunting. My wife decided, I think 2 years ago, she had never hunted big game in her life, and decided all of a sudden that she wanted to become a big game hunter. And I was like, all right, that means we're going to go to Wyoming and we're going to go antelope hunting. And it's so good there because there are a lot of antelope. There's a lot. I think there's some crazy stat like there's more antelope than people in Wyoming, something like that. And I don't think it's even that close. And so there's a lot of them. And the good part about that is for her in that situation, like she needed to learn how to stalk an animal. She needed to learn how to figure out where they're going, how to get there without being seen, and all of that sort of stuff. And it's just a great opportunity to do that for anybody that wants to like start big game hunting. I always say, man, go to Wyoming and try to get some antelope, because if you get the right units and so forth, A, it's cheap, and B, you will have lots of opportunities. So there is no pressure.
Right.
If you blow this stock, and you will, I completely blew a stock last time we were up there. I can't wait to get back up there and try that one again. But it just happens, things happen. You blow stocks, and it's just, it's great to not have any pressure about, oh, I screwed that up. I'll never have that opportunity again. Because like, if you work at it a little bit, in a couple of hours, you'll probably have that opportunity again. And so there's no pressure, and which I think is very appealing to people that are just getting started with big game hunting. And I mean, I've hunted big game most of my life, and I still find it incredibly enjoyable, just because there is no pressure.
Sure.
It's just very relaxing, and it's just a lot of fun. Plus, they're a wonderful animal to work with for food purposes. They are looked down upon a lot for that reason. There's a writer, Hank Shaw. I don't know if you guys are familiar with him or not. I love what he said about my other favorite thing that I just did a couple weeks ago, which is chasing sharp-tailed grouse up in Montana. And he said this about sharp-tails, and it also kind of applies to antelope as well. They have an assertive flavor. And I thought that was a great way of saying that they have, when you eat pork, it doesn't taste like beef. If you eat lamb, it doesn't taste like chicken. They're different animals, and you shouldn't expect them to taste the same. But people say, oh, it tastes gamey or whatever. No, it tastes like a different animal. And it's just that simple. And they are incredibly lean animals. Antelope are.
Right.
Incredibly lean. And I love antelope steaks. I love antelope roasts. If you cook it the right way, it is fantastic to eat. I've made some fun sausages with it. So yeah, it's great to eat. It's great to hunt. It's cheap. There's just nothing not to like about them. And I keep saying cheap, and everybody thinks, oh yeah, if you go out of state, it costs hundreds and hundreds of dollars just to get a tag. And that's true for most things. If you go to Wyoming, you pick the right unit, you get the right place, it's $40 to go shoot an antelope, to go hunt an antelope doe. $40. And you come out of it with, 30, 35 pounds of just priceless meat as far as I'm concerned. And it's just great. And so, I mean, they're out on public land, for the most part. And that means folks that don't know about that, if you go to public lands and if you follow a couple of rules, you can camp out there for nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And you can go and just follow a few rules and find a little niche out in the prairie, throw up a tent and stay and hunt antelope. And it's a great time.
All right. So what do you like to make for sausage out of antelope?
I've made a couple of different things primarily. And one of them, and it was probably, I would say it was probably my favorite. It was probably the least favorite among other people, but I liked it because I thought it was really cool, and it's my sausage, and I can make whatever I want to.
Sure.
And so it was the first year I took my wife up there, and we had hiked way back in this deal, climbed up on some rim rock, looking out over this flat, and we were sitting under some juniper trees, and I remembered an article or something that was Hank Shaw again. I like his stuff a lot. And I thought it was him. I was like, I think Hank Shaw had a recipe for juniper and sage antelope sausage. And if I get an antelope, because I'm sitting under a juniper, I'm looking out over a bunch of sage. If I get an antelope out here today, I'm going to make that recipe. And I did get one later on that day. And we got, I think, another one or two after that. And so came back home and made juniper and sage antelope sausage. And it was a different flavor. Yeah. I will say that.
Gotta say. Doesn't sound like something that...
But the good news is it had, a fair amount of gin in it as well. That was the, instead of putting water or whatever other liquid you would put into the sausage mix, you put gin in because gin is flavored with juniper.
Yeah, oh yes.
And
heavily.
So yes, and I love gin. And so I made juniper berry and sage antelope sausage, and I loved it. And it was a very different flavor. And I like to make a lot of different kinds of sausages. I like make a wide variety of sausages. Some of them from Walton's, some of them I take your stuff and modify it. And some of them I just like all fresh ingredients kind of stuff. But that one, was an all fresh ingredient deal. Had some juniper berries and sage and gin, and I can't remember what else, but it was a very different flavor. I really liked it though. But probably because it brought back so many memories of just sitting there with my wife on her first big game hunt. We were talking about things, and it was a beautiful setting, and I just loved it.
Now, as far as gin goes,
yes,
favorite gin?
Tanqueray.
Okay, I always liked Hendrick's.
Yeah, that's good too.
I love gin. Gin does not love me.
Really?
Oh yeah. There was a night in college. Well, there's a morning in college I woke up and I had to apologize to everybody. So there's something about the distilling process or whatever. So I will never have more than like 2 gin and tonics in a night.
Oh,
again.
That's a shame.
Yeah.
How about martinis?
Nope. I mean, maybe a vodka martini here and there, but like I don't love them.
Huh.
But yeah, no,
that's
Hendrick's was absolutely my favorite gin, and I liked it a lot.
Well, I have to say that when I was in college, I didn't know anything about gin because all I could afford was beer, and that was only sometimes. And so I didn't discover gin until later on in my life. So, but yeah, I'm a tank and tonic guy for gin and tonics, no doubt. Shows you how often I've gone out recently. I haven't ordered a martini. Is it Blue Sapphire?
Yeah.
That's
Bombay Blue Sapphire.
Yeah. I like martinis with that. That's pretty good. So I'll have a martini or a gin and tonic every once in a while. And so that probably developed my taste for my odd sausage that I made that I loved and nobody else. Well, I can't say that. My wife liked it too, but I think again, she liked it for the story as well.
Yeah.
Have either of you had Leopold's gin?
No.
Okay. I don't drink gin a ton, but I will drink Leopold's. Leopold's is really good. It's like a small batch type of thing. It's not super expensive, but
so is this like the up and coming Tito's?
No, probably not.
Okay.
I doubt it. It's pretty. I don't think it's that big at all.
Right, but neither was Tito's 5 years ago.
Sure, right.
I drank Tito's before Tito's was cool.
I think a lot of Kansas people did. And now it's literally everywhere.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think because it started in Texas and kind of just worked its way out. And
Right.
But yeah, if you're ever looking to branch out on a different type of gin, try Leopold sometime and let me know what you think.
I will absolutely do that. I'm always game for branching out on various things. So yeah,
Cool.
Absolutely. Yeah, I've been on a big bourbon kick recently for some reason. So that's been my go-to mixer or whatever. Although I don't mix it with anything except ice. I don't like calling it a mixer.
Counts.
I don't know why I said that. Mix it with ice.
Yeah. Mixer with ice.
But yeah, that's my recent kick. Is just try and have kind of gravitated towards the bottled in bond stuff, which is 100 proof bourbon, and just really like that stuff a lot. Wow! And it's inexpensive and wonderfully delicious.
And what is it called?
Well, it's like a whole. A lot of the brands have this thing called bottled in bond. Bottled in bond. And it came out of, I don't know whether it came out of Prohibition or the issues that they had when there were health problems with the bourbon industry, and some of it was not distilled properly. Okay.
Make people blind.
Yeah, that sort of thing. And so there were, not talking politics here, John. Sure, no, not talking, but the government, the government set these regulations that said that, like, to the people, like, if you want to drink safe bourbon, we're going to call it bottled in bond because it's bonded.
Okay.
And they set out the criteria for it to meet. Had to be, I forget what it all is. It's kind of cool though. It's like it had to be at one distillery by one person that was overseeing it. It had to be 4 years old, had to be 100 proof, something like that. And it's all like, it's all 100 proof. So it's got a little kick to it. But it's all pretty good stuff. And it's not, I mean, you can get, obviously like anything else, you can pay as much as you want to for it. But some of it that's really good is pretty inexpensive.
Cool.
And so I've, got on a bourbon kick, which is kind of weird, but that's kind of where I'm at right now. So in between beers, but
I was never a huge bourbon fan. And then we went up to Pheasant Fest and we won that raffle for all the bourbon bottles.
Yeah.
And I really started liking that. Well, I won the Bullet.
I think that's what I had.
You have the Bullet?
Yeah.
And the other one was Patrick. You still in here? What'd you win? No, it was bourbon, or it was Bullet or some other popular bourbon. I took the Bullet and I really did end up liking it just over the rocks. Yeah, it was really, really good.
Yeah. The thing that I don't understand is why you would take, like, bourbon is, to me, like, I do drink a lot. I don't eat a lot. I don't eat a lot of like sugar added things.
Right.
I really don't. I just don't like things that are that sweet. And to me, bourbon is really sweet. And so, just, put some ice in a glass and put it over that. And that's plenty sweet. And then people put like Coke and all that. And I just like, oh, how could you even do that? This is just fine, just like it is. So just leave it alone. Just put some ice in there and just sip it. It's wonderful.
Oh, that might be it. Maker's Mark.
Makers?
Yeah, that might have been what it was.
Yeah, again, a great benefit of being an American is that bourbon is so cheap. It is so cheap and it is so good and it's all made right here and it's great. So I don't know how we got off on that. How the heck did that happen?
Oh. Sage and juniper
and gin.
Wow.
Gin there we go.
Man, all the way around.
More beers, please.
Oh, it's Crown. Okay. Well, I mean, that makes sense too. But I think that's what's fun about this podcast and our live streams is we generally just start talking and who knows where it's going to come up. Yeah. Sometimes you have to deal with a 20-minute rant by a crazy Czechoslovakian Irishman and just yells about how we should all be doing required service. But, I mean, you get back to somewhere good eventually anyway.
Yeah, you get back to alcohol eventually.
Yes, eventually.
It all comes full circle.
There we go. Well, you were asking me about other sausage that I'd made with antelope. So I made this real odd one, juniper and sage. And then this last year, because of all of the, oh, that's terrible comments that I got because of that. I thought, all right, this year I'm going to make it into a very mild, like breakfast sausage, so that you can actually taste the animal that it's made with.
Mm-hmm.
And so I did that. Just made a mix of my own stuff and just made a really mild, like breakfast sausage, and then stuffed it in some natural casing. And actually that was at our last holiday event that we had. That actually was voted as the favorite sausage.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
Of all.
Nicely done.
Yeah, it was great. It was great. So, and it was just real lightly seasoned, not heavily done with anything. And it was really good. So, and that surprised a lot of people because antelope has such a bad connotation with people because it has an assertive flavor.
Right.
But it was delicious. It really was. But you take most anything and put a little bit of spice with it and put it in a little natural casing and throw it on a grill for a while. It tastes pretty good.
Yeah.
So that's my deal on sausage anyway.
Austin and I have started to bifurcate on what casing is best. I was always very strongly with him on collagen casings.
No.
But then I started realizing that I'm not paying for them to be put on a tube. I'm just taking them from Walton's and pressing a button to take them out of inventory. And I'm like, oh, well, that's way easier. I was like, oh, well, so I get the benefits of just sliding it on a tube like you do with collagen.
Yeah.
And I don't have to pay the extra like $2 or $3. I mean, it's not much, but it's a little bit more. So
you're talking like the tubed natural casings.
Yeah, tube natural casings.
Yeah, they make it more convenient, like
way
collagen.
easier.
Yeah, so if you're going to use natural, I would use tubed. Yeah. I would still argue collagen's better. I like the bite.
You're wrong.
I like the bite, like the feel. It's
I'm in between here because I think I like the bite better still on collagen.
No.
But the twist is so much easier with natural and it actually holds. So it looks more like a sausage.
Yeah, I mean, collagen is designed to do that too. If you have a $200,000 vacuum stuff or an automatic linker, but
maybe one person that listens to this podcast ever will.
Yeah. So
for you lucky guy,
it's just we're taking collagen and trying to do it by hand,
right?
And it's not going to work out the same, but it can be as good on the twist and everything and the usability and everything there, but.
Yeah, and for everybody who buys our like 3-pack collagens, that's not the average. It's hard to find collagen in other than what's called a full Caddy. Thank you. And the Caddy, if you realize that like when you take out the one run of it and it doesn't fit on your stuffing tube, that's because it's been specifically designed to fit on a commercial stuffing tube, which is significantly longer. Like collagen is not something that outside of us and maybe, I don't know, one or other supplier, that's not something that you're going to be able to buy in a smaller amount. Like we buy cases of caddies, then we split them out into caddies, and then we split them out into like 3-packs or 2-packs for you guys to be able to buy. But they are designed to be used in a commercial environment. So, yeah.
And I'll argue with you all day long about which is better, collagen or natural. I'll take that argument all day. I'll get on my John soapbox on that deal.
No. This is an argument I'm not involved in. I'm in the middle.
Yeah, exactly.
It feels good. I like
Payback
this.
time, buddy.
I could go on your side and on the natural side if it's a certain product. If it was like breakfast sausage, I'm good with natural. If it's like a brat, I want collagen. Otherwise, it doesn't fit on a bun. Have you ever seen a curved hot dog bun?
Who cares?
I care. It's so much easier to eat.
No. Who cares? That's the way they're supposed to look. That's the way they're supposed to feel when you bite into them. That's the whole deal, man. That's what they're supposed to be.
Yeah, you can get collagen that very closely mimics the bite and feel of a natural casing. It's just straight. But
why? When you got the natural thing right there, why?
Because it is easier.
Let's go with this.
No matter how
Austin, let's go. You ready?
Collagen is still natural. It's made from beef hide. There's nothing unnatural about it.
I understand that.
Yeah.
I totally get that.
So it's straight and it is easier to use. You take it out of the package, you put it on the tube. The biggest disadvantage is it will not hold a twist, no matter what you do, unless
By
you
hand,
have
yeah.
unless you have a vacuum stuffer. When you twist it, you cut it, it's coming undone.
Right.
So, I mean,
And that's that.
That's that.
And it may be the whole like commercial side versus home user side kind of thing.
Right.
It may be that that may be the difference. I don't know. But yeah, for a home user, which that's what I am. I grew up in a commercial meat processing setting, but now I just do it at home. And so yeah, it may just be that difference. I don't know. But but you can't beat it. You just can't.
We might be here for the next 4 hours arguing.
Where's my soapbox?
I go back and
Where'd you
forth.
put
The
it?
fact that I'm in the middle is yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I agree. So,
But no, but the antelope sausage that I made into a very very mild breakfast sausage.
Mm-hmm.
We would throw that on the grill, the bratwurst looking things that we made out of it, and throw those on the grill, cook them on the grill, and yeah, that was the favorite of it. Even beat my juniper and sage. I can't believe it, but it did. But yeah,
the strongly hated juniper and sage,
except
sausage.
for me, doggone it, I loved it.
Oh, man.
Oh yeah, but so that was fun to see that an antelope could beat, because I had made gosh, I was trying to think what else I had there. I had some pork sausage and some turkey sausage, and I think I even had a chicken sausage and all that kind of stuff there. And the antelope was still voted as the
number one,
as the favorite. So
awesome,
Very cool.
So that was pretty fun.
Yeah,
and it's cheap, $40 a tag. Go camp out, have fun, go enjoy the public lands, chase an antelope. It's awesome. It's awesome. Pressure free.
Real quick, best state to go to for hunting antelope.
Just for like numbers,
ability to get out with an animal.
Wyoming. No question. There's like no question about that in my mind anyway. They have a lot. They manage them well. It seems like, although I'm not there, so I may not know all of the ins and outs of that, but it seems like there's always a really good number of antelope in most places.
Awesome.
So no question.
Anything else you want to? Yeah,
go do it. You should go do it.
I'm very much thinking about it.
What's holding you back?
It's stupid reasons.
Like what?
Well, currently my wife is going for MBA. So we literally, as it is right now, we never see each other. So trying to get like any time apart is kind of hard. Plus I have 280 pound of dog at home that requires a lot of attention.
Austin, you hearing what I'm hearing?
Excuses?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Thank you. I know. But I mean, they're somewhat reasonable excuses.
I don't know.
Yeah, I know.
It's out there.
It is out there.
Why not
It is
do
out
it?
there. I know. And we
were talking earlier about the youthfulness of BHA.
Oh no! I'm not young anymore.
I know. I don't care. That's not my point.
You couldn't count me
That's
in
not my
that,
point.
though.
What
Okay.
I'm talking about is a point that you made. Actually, it's about here we got all these 25 to 35-year-old guys with growing families and bills out the wazoo and wives that don't want them to be gone and all that kind of stuff, and they're finding ways to get out and do it.
Right.
And you got a dog and a wife.
They don't. No. I have 2 dogs.
Okay. Okay. Fine. Two dogs.
2 dogs. Not
2
one.
dogs and a wife. I'm not buying it.
And a job
So
that I
when
very
you're-
much like.
I'm going out in like 2 weeks. You want to go?
No.
See? You say you don't want to go? Come on.
We're launching our website in a couple of weeks. We can't do
and
that.
you got a job that you got to do all this stuff on. So do all those 25 to 45-year-old guys. Come on.
No, I don't want to
No?
think about that.
Yeah, I know. See?
That's not.
See? No excuse.
No.
You were out having fun on public lands last week,
Last
right,
week.
Austin?
Yeah.
Where were you? Here?
Here.
Minding the ship for him? Turnabout is fair play?
Yeah. but
Come on.
No. No.
It's my soapbox time. Come on now. You got to play along with me now. Come on.
I hope everyone at this point, all of our listeners or people who follow us understand that, like, I try to protect Austin's time very much. So when he's gone, that's fine. But I don't like to be gone. Like, because then, like, I don't want anything that I should be doing to fall on you because you already don't have enough time. You already tried to do too many things.
That's true.
So yeah,
I'll grant you that.
I've never seen anyone who has as many responsibilities is the wrong word, but duties as you do. It's like, oh no, I do that. I do that. I do that. Who does this? I do that. I do that. Like, all right, well, no, you're not doing these things. I could do those things.
I have a John. You just need a John now.
Yeah. Patrick's not quite a John. John. Patrick's
I'll get off my soapbox. I'll let you off the hook. How about that? We'll move on.
All right. As far as BHA, other thing or anything else that people need to know about your organization?
Oh man, where do I start? This, like I said, September is a huge month for us. We got so much stuff going on in September. Giveaways on the website. You go to our store, and every $1 that you spend at our store is an entry into a giveaway for a bunch of cool prizes. There's just all sorts of things. Photo contest, the public lands pack out.
The photo contest.
Yes.
Let's talk about that a little bit.
All right.
We'll post links to it at the Meatgistics post for this podcast.
Yep.
We'll talk about it a little bit.
I'm not probably the one to talk about that because
There is a photo contest.
There is. And it sounds like you're into it more than me, which is awesome.
It does. It absolutely looks great. It is. I think you have to be on public land, but I'm not sure. They want you to submit a photo of yourself or you and others out hunting or enjoying public lands, and I don't know what you win.
I'm sure it's great prizes.
But yeah,
a bunch
of
outdoor
awesome.
gears.
Absolutely looks awesome.
Yeah. I'm sure all of our raffles, giveaways, whatever you want to call them, is super good stuff. I mean, Walton's is a great state sponsor for us. I'm going to say the best state sponsor in the nation, without question. Our national sponsors are great. I got a Stone Glacier hat on. They're one of our sponsors. Weston is a state sponsor. And anyway, there's always great gear. Always great stuff in our raffles and giveaways and stuff. So I'm sure it's wonderful. But there's all kinds of things going on. Here in Kansas, we've got the big public lands pack out thing that we're doing right now, doing all that stuff all over the state. And in either October or November, we're going to have a membership drive, BHA branded Yeti cooler that we'll give away, which would be pretty sweet, and a bunch of other stuff. In fact, I was talking to Colton yesterday, day before, I can't remember, and we were tossing around a bunch of ideas on some things to do.
We're sorry about that.
Yeah, oh man, it was a struggle.
I'm sure.
Somebody had to,
sure,
so I was the one. I jumped on that grenade. So anyway, but we were talking about lots of things coming up. COVID is just has just thrown such a monkey wrench into everything that we're having a tough time. Like, we were going to be doing a deer processing deal up around Manhattan for a bunch of people that could really use knowledge about how to process deer in a very inexpensive manner. And I was going to teach that. I don't even know that we're going to be able to pull that off. Simply because of COVID, and you guys were going to donate some stuff to us. I don't even know that we're going to be able to pull that off. But so we're trying to pull off things, and it just depends on the regulations, on what we can do, what we can't do, and it's just been a real struggle trying to get that done. We did have a fun thing a couple of weeks ago. We did a virtual pint night. Which is not nearly as cool as a pint night, but still, there's beer involved, so what the heck.
Sure.
But we had a couple of game wardens come on and just answered questions, whatever weird questions you want to throw at game wardens, and they answered them.
That's
and
pretty cool.
A couple of great guys. They're both BHA members, and we've had them on a couple of times now, and they're just a ton of fun and very knowledgeable, very good. And in fact, we released that as a podcast episode. It was so much fun.
Very cool.
And so we're slowly trying to figure out what works, what doesn't, what people want, what they don't want, that sort of thing. And it's a struggle, man.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys are doing the same things, I'm sure.
It's the weirdest time ever. And in all honesty, there would never, like, you were trying to get that deprivation tag.
Yep.
There would never been a year where it'd be so useful, because there's going to be a record number of people trying to do their own deer this year. And we're telling you this because we know commercial processors who usually do deer who say, not this year.
Yes.
Don't have time for it. Don't have space for it.
Secrets
Not
out of the
doing it.
bag
So
right
people
there.
are going to be turned away. I guarantee you there'll be people who go get their deer, take it, they process it, and their processors will be like, no, I've been posting this. I've been saying I'm not doing it. So there's going to be a ton of people who are like, well, I have literally no idea what to do now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It would be amazing if we could have a video from A to Z, but there's
It's
so many difficulties in even getting that done.
and I will say there are some videos on YouTube and stuff,
But they're not ours, so they're
they're not nearly as much fun. I mean, nobody gets to listen to you rant while we're
Right,
cutting
yeah.
up a deer. I mean, you got to have that. Come on.
And this is where you cut off the hoof, just like they're taking our ability away to move from state to state.
Oh God. Maybe it's not a good idea.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Terrible.
But anyway, yeah, it would really be helpful because I do think, and I thought that the thing up that we were going to do, how many beers have I had? Going to do up by Manhattan to show people that don't have a lot of money to spend on equipment. You know, they can still come in and buy some seasoning or whatever, but they don't have the cash to come in and buy a grinder or whatever. And to show those folks how easy it is. And Colton and I were talking about this with you in mind, how easy it is to cut up a deer. And Austin, you and I had talked about this, using nothing but like a cutting mat, a boning knife, and some butcher paper.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and some masking tape to close it up with. And if you can if you have that equipment, you can cut up a deer and package it and have, if you're lucky enough to be in Kansas, sorry, the rest of the nation, we have we get 50 pounds of meat off our deer without question. And that's a good thing. And so, 50 pounds of meat, and that's all the equipment that you need to make absolutely wonderful meat for your family.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a really good program to help out folks with. And obviously, if you want to get a little fancier, make the snack sticks and jerky and all that. And you can absolutely do that as well. But yeah, it would be a great time to be able to teach classes like that. Thanks COVID, we don't get to do that. But so we're just trying to figure out things to do and working our way through it. That's all we're doing. So, but there's lots of other things always going on BHA. Our website is really good. I think it's backcountryhunters.org. And there's a events page where you can go on there. Oh, there's one thing that reminded me. Filson is another good sponsor of ours. And they have sponsored a thing called Filson Skills Nights. And there's a whole series that you can go through of learning hunting tactics on the eastern part of the United States and hunting tactics on the western part of the United States. Cool. There's a whole separate track of classes and stuff like that. And so that they're trying to find some more things. Now, the website is the thing. Obviously, there is a register where you can click twice and you are at the page to register to vote, which is super cool. Everyone should do that. So we're doing what we can, get the vote out and get people out having fun, enjoying the outdoors. We own it. We might as well be out there.
All right, Kurt, thank you so much. As always, an absolutely great guest.
No problem.
For you guys, if you have anything you want us to cover, please email us at podcast@waltonsinc.com. We are keeping things that we want to talk about in future episodes. So we will have maybe even once every 2 months or something where we just clear the mailbag, basically. But as always, thanks for watching on YouTube. Please subscribe. If you're listening on wherever you listen to podcasts, just give us some sort of rating, whether it's great or bad. Don't give us a bad one, just a good one. So as always, guys, thanks for watching. I'm John.
And I'm Austin.
And you are?
I'm Kurt.
From BH.
I was making fun of your beer. I'm sorry.
My beer? How could you make fun of my beer? Because it's empty. It's the only thing that you can make fun of.
This is way better than that.
All right. Thanks so much, guys. And we'll see you guys next time.